Hey, Michael Anthony here. I just did a great interview. You better come and check it out. Check out some other interviews too, because they're pretty doggone cool also. For BassPlayersOnly.com. Go there!
In our limited time, I'd like to hit some of the highlights of your career. For instance, that band that you played in for a long time, Van Halen. I think a lot of people know the story about how that band formed and how you became a part of it, but I think as we get further and further into time, there are probably more people that don't know that story. So a refresher for those who know.
The ones that knew it, they forget now.
That's right.
They can't remember anymore.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, what was that story? You're a young guy.
Yeah, I was playing in bands in the Arcadia, California area. And, of course, the Van Halen brothers were from Pasadena, and actually Dave had joined the band probably about a year. He'd been in the band about a year. And the band that I was playing and lead singing in, we were called Snake, pretty original name there. We were both playing at Pasadena College in the auditorium. No, at the high school, Pasadena High School. And I remember them blowing up their PA, and Ed came and asked me if he could use the PA that we had. So I said, sure, And so we opened up for Van Halen that night. And I remember talking with Ed quite a bit in the parking lot after the show, just kind of BSing around about, music, the local scene, all the local band type stuff. And it was actually through a mutual friend of ours. I was in a music class with Ed that he found out that they were, relieving the bass player. They were getting rid of their bass player. So he mentioned my name, and Alex... I don't know if it's Alex who called me and asked me if I wanted to come over and jam. They were rehearsing in some little garage in Pasadena, some friend's house. And I went over there, and we played, and they kind of put me through the paces and all their stuff and whatever, and asked me that day if I wanted to join the band. And I said, yeah, sure. I mean, they were playing clubs in Hollywood and stuff like that, and the extent of our band, and we were doing a lot of parties and that kind of thing. So that's basically how I joined the band.
You're not with Van Halen anymore.
No, I'm not.
And there are varying stories of why you are not any longer with that band. And how about we take this opportunity for you to set us straight and give us the real scoop.
I'll get as straight as I can here. I'm not going to dig deep into it and the dirt and all that stuff because I'm not into all that kind of stuff. But just like anything else, people have differences of opinion or whatever, and, Van Halen was on an extended hiatus, and I wanted to go out and play. I didn't want to just sit around and do nothing. And Sammy had put together this tour with Dave Lee Roth. They were calling it the Sam and Dave tour. And he asked me if I wanted to come out and guest on a few of the shows, which I did maybe about a handful of shows on that tour with Sam. Just come out and play a few Van Halen songs. And... well, let's just say that the powers to be, they were not too happy that I was doing something like that, and I kind of got backed up against a wall, and I wanted to go out and play, so I decided that I'm going to go out and play. I thought I'd be waving the Van Halen flag high while there was nothing going on really with the band at the time. So things just kind of blew up from there, and I could just kind of leave the rest to your imagination. But that's basically how it all kind of came to be.
Well, what kind of thoughts or feelings do you have about Wolfgang, if you don't mind me asking?
I think he's a great kid. I mean, obviously I've known him since he was born.
Yeah.
And, he's a great musician. He's a great bass player. I mean, he plays drums, guitar, bass, and, and he sings. And so, naturally I understood, when he went back with the reunion thing that, his dad, Ed, wanted his son to play with him, and that's, totally great. I mean, I found out that he was going to be playing bass with the rest of everybody else when they did their press conference. But no, I wished him luck in a couple of interviews that I did, and hopefully he read those.
And how about the current tour? How's that going?
This is actually only the third show that I've joined Sammy on. I just joined him a couple of cities ago in Chicago. But it's great. I'm basically, this is coming out. Sammy's doing this 4 Generations of Rock tour where he goes through, each of the major parts of his career, starting with Montrose and then his solo stuff. And, of course, the Van Halen stuff was a big part of it. And that's when he asked me to come out and and play on. And if you really think about it, if you want to hear any of those songs, the Sammy era songs, this is where you're going to have to come and hear them, because it's probably the only time you're going to hear those songs play live by any of the people from Van Halen. Because obviously Eddie and Alex and they're not doing any of it.
What's happening with Chickenfoot?
Chickenfoot is on a hiatus. We toured last year. Obviously, we didn't tour as much as we would have liked to because one of the reasons was Chad was unavailable. The Chili Peppers were still waist deep into their tour, and this year, probably in the winter, around November, December, Joe has said that he's got some demos that he wants to lay on us, and so I think Chickenfoot will be starting to get back together in the winter and
indoor venues, I hope.
Well,
when you come to Michigan,
probably studio first. We'll be going into the studio next January. We'll probably go in and start hashing some ideas around and stuff like that, and kind of getting back to that. And obviously, we wanted to wait until Chad was free, and so that's kind of like why we didn't do anything this year, because his band they were finishing their tour kind of officially finished early summer, but they've been doing one-off shows here and there, and I think by the end of the year they'll be completely finished with their tours. So if Chad's wife will let them come out and play, come on, Chad, we're ready.
You've got a new PV signature amp.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
It's a 2-channel amp. The second channel is a distortion channel, but I kind of refined it for him by adding tone to it and a blend, so that you can actually play at a lower volume and blend in the amount of distortion and how aggressive you want the distortion to sound. And I think it turned out really damn fine myself.
Great. Switching gears, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Mad Anthony's Cafe.
We're switching gears now.
Let's talk hot sauce, because I know you're very proud of that.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not something that I went into as deep as like Sammy with his tequila or like that. But I do enjoy it, and a company in Southern California makes it for me, and we're basically online and in a lot of boutique hot sauce stores, and getting into a few more of the major markets on the West Coast. And we have 2 hot sauces. One's like a regular hot sauce, which still is hot, and then I have a XXX, which you're gonna want to have. Well, maybe not even water. That's not going to help you. Plenty of milk. Milk helps. And then we do a spicy yellow mustard and barbecue sauce, a regular barbecue sauce and a spicy barbecue sauce. And it's just something that's really fun to do. I'm really passionate about hot sauce. Ever since back in Van Halen, fans would find out that I loved hot chili peppers and stuff, and they would start bringing me salsas and peppers and stuff like that to the shows. And somebody suggested, hey, why don't you do a hot sauce? And right then I know Joe Perry was coming out with his. But I found the right kind of people, and they really let me, again, have control rather than me just slap my name on a bottle of hot sauce and call it mine. This is really my baby. I don't know a lot of the technical stuff and some of the spices and stuff to use, but I know what I like with the flavors, so I'd make suggestions there. But it's a fun thing to do, and it's going really well.
Last question, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be if you weren't a bass player?
Oh, my God.
Something outside of music.
Something outside of music? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you ask my wife this, she'd probably say that I'd be a gardener, because when I'm home, I'm always fixing sprinklers and stuff like that. And she goes, God, you must have been a gardener in your previous life. No, actually, the only other thing that I actually was working on before my parents really let me go full time with music was I took a lot of psychology classes, if you can believe that. I wanted to work with underprivileged and mentally disabled children, and I really have a soft spot in my heart for that, So
beautiful. Michael Anthony, great catching up with you. Enjoy the tour. Safe travels. Much luck and continued success to you always. Good
talking to you, and Chickenfoot will be around soon. Like you said, check the hot sauce out. Check the new PV VBMA amp out. It kicks butt.